Welcome, everybody. This is a special presentation of Post Sports Radio as we sit down to discuss the realignment or the alignment of the upcoming next 2 years. And joining us today, of course, the guy who knows all about it is head coach at Post High School, John Wright, athletic director as well, and a writer for the Post Dispatch and commentator and announcer for Post Sports Radio is Russ Morris. Guys, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Good morning to you. So, Russ, let's go over and talk about what just happened on Monday. Where was that place at?
This is our regional service center in Lubbock.
So, Russ, what happened with Post?
Well, so we got slotted into a 5-team district over in District 3. It's with us, Abernathy, New Home, New Deal, and Sundown. We thought we were going to be in a big 8-team monster district, and then there were a couple other people, like myself included, who thought we were going to head down to the Permian Basin and the Concho Valley in that area. But UIL said, no, we're going to stay right here together. So it kind of worked out pretty nice as far as traveling-wise for the district, I think.
Coach, did it work out the way you expected?
Yeah, well, no, not really. I mean, partly, but, like I've said earlier, I've learned to not try to predict on the UIL. We try to prepare for worst-case scenario and then take what they give us. I've done this long enough to see that UIL usually seldom ever does what you think they're going to do. Yeah.
It's like Christmas morning, right?
Yeah.
Open up that package and it's something you didn't expect.
Yeah, I mean, you could call it Christmas. It's more like it's more like a musical chairs in a casino, really and truly, when you go to that realignment. So it's just chaos, and from the very beginning until the very end. So that's kind of how it works out.
All right, so let's look at the district itself. We said it's District 3, 2A, Division 1. We were 2A, our District 2, 2A, Division 1. So a slight change just in the name, but pretty much the makeup's the same.
Yeah, so they kept Floydada and Olton in District 2, and they just added Toya, Farwell, and Hale Center over to that district, and they just moved the teams that qualified for the playoffs last year. They said, no, y'all are just going to District 3. So that's basically how they did it. So it kind of, I think, regionality-wise, it worked out nice, but I was surprised to see an overall theme that they did not want a 4-team district in everything. I think there's only one 4-team district in the state of Texas, and that's in 4A Division 1 or 2, and it's with Andrews, Plainview, Odessa Compass Academy, and San Angelo Lakeview. I was surprised to see all of that. Were you shocked to see a lot of the 5-team districts? Or
No, not really. I mean, if I look at this from a broad standpoint and look at everything Class A through 6A, I think they did a really good job of spreading things better, and I'm all for doing away with the 4-team districts. A lot of times you get in a 4-team district scenario, a lot of times you get an 0-10 team in the playoffs, and it always causes hard feelings with other people. And so I'm glad that they made that move in that direction.
what are the pros and cons of the 5-team district? So does this put an extra emphasis on making sure that you win the district championship now?
Well, honestly, yes and no. You always want to win your district, and it's more important in this region than any other place, in my opinion, because the way 2A Division I is spread, you've got so many top 15 teams in the Panhandle, and we're just pounding each other all through pre-district. And I mean, because we're isolated out here in West Texas, we've got X amount of teams that we can play, and it's even worse up in the Northern District. So yeah, the pros and cons of being in a 5-team district, there's really not any. I mean, honestly, to me, we're in the same district that we were in last year. It's just fewer teams, but yeah, you want to be. The number one reason why you want to win your district is so that your second and third round games translate differently than if you were a third or a fourth place team. So, one of the cons is, if you slip up a night, or you don't play well, or very similar deal to with us and New Deal, and then the way it all ended up in a tie for first last year, then it comes down to points. and you could go from anywhere from second to fourth and lose one game. And so, yeah, we need to win the district. Of course, every coach and every program is going to be saying that the same thing.
So again, Post is in District 3 for the next couple of years with Abernathy, New Deal, New Home, Post, and Sundown. Sundown moves up from Division 2. How do you look at them as far as a
Contender
for first place? Or
Sundown's got a great head coach. They got great tradition. If they are down, they don't stay down for long. They're always formidable. And I look for that to. I look for them to be better through this transition than they were last year. They had a really good JV. I think they were 4-6, and they made the playoffs. But a lot of their district losses were short, little tight ones, like by a point or something like that. I think I haven't looked at them very closely, but we have a lot of history with Sundown, and I've always had a lot of admiration for them and their school district. So. They're going to be formidable. There's not going to be any nights off in district.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, I think it was 2022 or 2023 they started off the year 0-5, and then they knocked off five wins in a row to get them into the playoffs as like the third or the fourth final seed. So historically, they've always been a tough opponent for us.
Sure.
It doesn't matter what year they have or wherever, that place over there has always been a tough place to play.
Yeah, tradition never graduates, and the Roughnecks have always been tough. They're going to continue to be tough. Post won't be taking Sundown lightly, I can tell you that.
Sure. Okay. Well, you think Post has an advantage with the huge senior class coming in next year to probably take this district?
Statistically, when you have a high number of seniors, you're always kind of in an advantage position. You still have to play the game every week, and
yes, sir.
But yeah, I'm excited about our senior class. We're gonna put 20 seniors on the roster this coming year. Never had anything close to that since I've been here.
No, sir.
I don't think I've ever been part of anything like that since I've been coaching, at least in small school. We always had a bunch at Decatur and Big Spring and whatnot, but this is going to be probably the biggest group and not only that, but the most experienced. I know 17 of them played on the varsity last year. 3 of those 17 started as freshmen. So, and a high percentage of them started as sophomores. So, experience, another year of training, and they're good athletes. All the recipes there, just like it was last year. We just got to stay healthy and stay on a growth curve through the season.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that number, that has to be the biggest, I think, in at least the last 20 years. I think the 83 team, the class of 2017, and I think the class of either 19 or 2020, I think they've all at least had, I think the lowest number was 17 seniors. So this has to be the biggest group of seniors we've ever had on the roster. If that is the case, that's impressive.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember, even when I was here when we were a 3A school, honestly, I don't remember having that many seniors back then. And, this group of juniors that will be seniors next year, they're great athletes, they're great workers, they're great kids, they got great families. So, all the ingredients are there to have a great football team, and I'm excited about it. I think that they're excited about it, and we've already been working. We got 35 kids in off-season right now, which is a big number of off-season kids, and they've been getting after it and getting stronger and faster and bigger. And we spend a lot of time on the scales this time of year, just checking weight. I'm constantly going through the weight room. Hey, how much you weighing? Our quarterback, he probably gets tired of me asking that, but he's experienced some weight gain and some strength gain and stuff like that. Injuries were an issue last year, and we're doing everything we can to improve that scenario for us next year.
Very good, very good.
How's his shoulder coming along?
He's healed.
He's healed.
Honestly, Landon's the kind of guy that if I just let him go, he would go. And he would have played with a completely broken collarbone last season if we weren't constantly pulling the reins back on him. He's full on. He's in the off-season group. he is getting after it and being a great leader. And, sky's the limit for Landon Garcia. So,
Okay, due to the realignment, if Post makes the playoffs, which we're hoping to, as always, we got to go into play District 4, which includes Ballinger, Big Lake, Reagan County, Cristobal, Colorado City, Fort San Ozona, and Sonora. They got a big district, right? So are they as competitive as they look, or will they be better?
So there are some traditionally really solid programs in that district. I don't remember if you mentioned Ozona or not. Are they in that?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Ozona, Sonora, they're always tough. So yes, they're very competitive. Not sure that they're as competitive as District 1, that we went against this year. That Panhandle district was completely loaded. A lot of tradition up there. And so I like the way it's laid out. And one of the things that I like seeing is the fact that the Abilene district has moved into Region 2. And we won't have to face one of those teams other than pre-district until the semifinal round. So if we're fortunate enough to get there, I think it plays out well for our district is as competitive as anybody in those 4 districts, and I like that scenario.
We touched on it before that the UIL kind of does whatever they feel like they seem fit. Did that kind of raise an eyebrow to you that they separated Ballinger and Coleman, that they made Ballinger go in the same district with Sonora, but they kept Coleman in the same district with Mason? Was that kind of an eyebrow raiser to you?
Yeah, I thought that was strange because of how close they are together, but I also know how this is done up there, and I don't know if they, have a computer algorithm for it now or what, but in the old days they used to just put, when they evaluated a region, they thumbtacked it and they put rubber bands around it and tried to group them as, friendly as possible for travel purposes, but I'm not exactly sure how that happens now, but like I said at the beginning of the interview, if you try to guess what the UIL is going to do, you might as well go to Vegas.
Stay there.
Because
Yeah.
it's one year at Big Spring, we were dead set that we were going to the El Paso area in our district realignment. It was almost like there was no other option. And that same year, we ended up in a district with Hereford, Pampa, and we had to drive, almost 4 hours to a game each week, So I quit making guesses and trying to figure it out. I'll never be part of that process, I'm sure.
It's good to know that we have a lot of close teams once again. Abernathy, New Deal, New Home, Sundown, not too far. Sundown will be the furthest, I do believe.
Yes.
But looking at the total schedule, the tentative schedule you put out on the service the other day, includes a couple. Anson's pretty far. Lamisa's not. Slayton's not. Hawley's close to Anson, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Stanton. So did a real good job of getting those games. A lot of people don't understand how the schedule gets formulated. Can you explain what happened?
Yeah, so it was pretty crazy. When they hand that packet out at 9 a.m., everybody gets it right then. And, we all kind of set our pre-district schedule before we get there. And we have gentlemen's agreements with other coaches, and then when the district packets are handed out, like I said, it's a Chinese, musical chairs. It's musical chairs. If you get a chair, which would be a game, good, then the music plays again. You got to go get another one. We went in only needing one game in week 3. As soon as that packet got handed out, we needed 3.
Oh boy!
And I was approached by, and I started approaching teams that I wanted to play. I started close by, comparable competition and whatnot. I started close by, got turned down multiple times, and then I started getting approached by Jim Ned, Wall, Idalou.
3A schools, huh?
At one point we were about to communicate with Guyman, Oklahoma about a neutral site. I got a phone call from the head coach at Llano, Gerald. Paradise, I was texted by one of their coaches. Just anywhere from 3A Division I up to a 5A school in Oklahoma, and we're doing everything we can to fill schedules. Then Stanton reached out. I said, yes, let's do it, because I knew they're close. They're a 3A school, but they're be good competition for us. And And then, we already had Lubbock Trinity, and I communicated with Mitch Abels about week 5 with Holly. I think that's a good matchup for us. And then we left out of there. Me and Coach Patterson were about the only two left in the building, still needing a game. So I said, well, let's go home and we'll work on it. Lubbock Christian High School really wanted to play us. I've already got one private school on the schedule. I didn't really want to have two. They play with a different set of rules,
right?
And I'm not a real big fan of that, having dealt with Midland Christian a big part of my career out here in West Texas. But anyway, halfway between Lubbock and Slayton, I had texted Lawrence Johnson at Brownfield to see if they had anything open. And apparently he reached out to Herrick Brantley, the old head coach from Brownfield, who is now DC at La Mesa, and they asked us if we wanted to play, and we filled our schedule out here on Highway 84 on the way home.
Nice. Okay.
So, and that's how that all played out, and I like how it played out. I think it's going to be a good pre-district schedule for us. You can talk about injury and you can talk about competition level and all these things. And in a 2A school, you have to really be careful about keeping your kids healthy. And, all the know-it-alls will say, well, you can get hurt in any game and you can get hurt in practice. As head coaches, we look at averages constantly. And you're looking at, okay, how many hits are we going to take from this team and from this team and this team? And you're computing these things in your mind 24 hours a day. And so that came into play a little bit on building the schedule. But overall, I'm happy with the way it turned out. And we'll just we'll play them 1 week at a time and sort it out after that.
Yeah, that game with Holly, that's going to be a fun one. And plus, there's a lot of post connections there too. Seago, he was the assistant baseball coach with Catwinkle when he was here. So there's some, and he's over at Holly now. He's been over at Holly the last few years. So it'll be fun to go up against him on that other sideline.
Me and Jamie are good friends. I haven't, I was on that staff with him and Cat here, and I haven't had any, smart mouth texts or anything yet. But I'm sure there's something coming.
Oh yeah,
I may just send one to him.
Oh yeah,
it'll be fun though, right?
Yeah.
All right, so that's the schedule. Anything else we need to ask Coach before we change topics here?
As far as the location, as far as playing them either here or there, how did you come about or how did you and them agree on when y'all want to play them here or play them over there? How did those conversations go?
So in the district, that gets outlined when we all shake the bones for games. And something interesting this year about our district as far as home and away and all that and the structure of our district schedule. Week 7, we're on bye week. And normally that is when your whole district goes on bye week. But it worked out this year that we couldn't do that in our district. So we have week 7 bye and everybody else has got different byes. And but with pre-district opponents, you start with your scrimmages and you look at home and away, and you do everything you can to alternate. But sometimes it just doesn't work with your opponent because they have this need or we have this need. And when you're scraping to fill games, you can't. I mean, I already heard it. Well, we only get 4 home games my senior year. Well, I'm sorry, but that's just how it shakes down sometimes. That's not done by choice, And but I think it was Roy Perez was telling me that Luca had made that comment, and I said, well, hey, look at it this way. At least your brother gets 6 home games when he's a senior.
There's always a positive you get.
But, that's how it works. It's based off of what everybody needs. And let's just say that we had 3 home games and 7 away, I'd be dropping some opponents to try to even it up. 6 and 4 is the worst I want to go. And but sometimes, and then you get into sub-varsity games. Well, sometimes, like when we were playing some of these Division 2A schools, they couldn't send coaches 2 different directions, so we had to play at their place. Well, one year I think we had 6 away games and 2 home games with the middle school. And then
parents didn't like that.
No, and I didn't like it either because it's not fair. But if you want to keep those opponents and keep those games, sometimes you just got to sacrifice a little bit. But then the following year, we had 6 home games and 2 on the road, so it works out.
All right.